Hello and welcome back to Dial H for Heroclix. I'm your host, Kalder. With Silver Age tournaments happening all over, today we're going to talk about one of the teams that you may want to prepare for or even play. That's right, we're talking about Darkseid. Let's go ahead and break down the team. The team is fairly simple and straightforward. I don't have all of the pieces for it, but it is as follows. Darkseid is your one modern age element who is going to be 300 points of your build. Thanks to the new silver rules, this is allowable, this is playable. You're going to run one Scott Porter, that is going to be the black shirt Scott Porter. He is going to be your one restricted element. Besides that, you're also going to be running Kalder here from Avengers Forever, and then you'll be running the green Proteus at his 10-point line from X-Men Dark Phoenix Saga, which is an amazing set, and maybe, I believe, the oldest figure on this team. Let's take a quick in-depth look at every figure on the team and what their role is, shall we? So let's go ahead and start off with Darkseid. Darkseid, of course, is our 300-point modern age figure, so he is our one modern game element that we have. And so his biggest thing is the trait, Nothing Can Stop Me. This allows Darkseid to reduce penetrating damage, which of course helps his longevity and just makes him an absolute beast. But the biggest part is the second part of the trait. When Darkseid destroys a terrain marker, after resolutions you deal 2 unavoidable damage to an opposing character adjacent to a square that terrain marker last occupied this turn. And then you remove an action token from Darkseid. This, combined with his cosmic energy willpower, just keeps him going the entire game. Darkseid also has a trait that once per game, when Darkseid would be KO'd, you may instead roll a d6 and turn him to the matching click number. This is Protected Pulse Wave. We'll get into a few different strategies we have for this, but it's pretty simple once we get to it later on. And then he has his third trait, which isn't the most important for Darkseid, but that is when Darkseid KOs an opposing character. After resolutions, KO all other opposing characters that share a name with that character. This can be helpful in certain matchups, but it's not the main reason we're playing Darkseid. Like we said earlier, he of course has the 0 Mandarin Ring, which gives him Barrier and Incapacitate. Barrier as free, but only to generate 1 marker. This, of course, allows Darkseid to keep making special terrain that he can keep destroying by either sidestep or moving through to deal as much unavoidable damage to an opposing team as possible. We also equip him with the Remaker Ring, which just gives him poison and shape change for a little bit of longevity for Darkseid. Next up for mobilization, we have Kalder or Kesar, however you want to say it. Kalder here clocks in at 50 points, and he, of course, has one with the Savage Land trait, which at the beginning of the game, you generate a Zabu Bystander, max 1. The biggest, most important part of this trait is how we mobilize Darkseid with it. The second part is when Kalder is given a move action, after resolutions, you may move another friendly character with a shared keyword, or a friendly Zabu Bystander up to half its speed value. So this being a ruler theme team, we're going to be using this to move Darkseid half his speed, which top dial is 12, so it is 6 squares that Kalder is helping us move. Kalder also has leadership and can make that Zabu Bystander, which we can of course send out to pester the team, but Kalder's main role is going to be doing that half speed move for Darkseid to get him just all the way across the map. Kalder, we're equipping with the Symbiote from Earth X, which of course gives him plasticity and shape change and allows him to automatically break away, keeping Kalder relatively safe. Next up is Black Shirt Scott Porter, who of course, since we are a ruler theme team, is going to give us an additional +1 for map, which is always good. And then he himself is just a sidestep TK Perplex, which is just simply good, once again, for Darkseid's reach and getting Darkseid mobilized, and of course Perplex is always good. Darkseid also can take quite the hit later on in the game, and we are using his Counting on the Community trait to help Darkseid out, which is read as follows. If Scott Porter is part of a theme team, he is, we're ruler, he starts the game with 3 community tokens. If Scott Porter has any community tokens, once per turn you may re-roll any roll. If you do, after resolutions, you remove a community token from Scott Porter. So going back to Darkseid, his once per game when he is KO'd trait, if we roll like a 5 or 6 or something way too high on that trait, we of course have one shot with a Scott Porter reroll to try to get, typically a 1, 2, or 3 is what you want. You want him to be on his sidestep, Pensai, Impervious, probability control clicks, his best stat clicks, right? So if we roll a 4, 5, 6, probably going to shoot to try to reroll to a 1, 2, or 3 with Scott Porter. That's just a great add that he has. And then, of course, Scott Porter is going to give us +1 defense if Darkseid is next to Kalder or anybody like that. It's just going to overall help. And then he has the fighting for a cure trait, which gives him support, and then at the beginning of your turn, Scott Porter may heal a friendly character 1 click. This is regardless of adjacency, the heal 1 click, so if Darkseid has taken a hit or two while he's all the way on the other side of the map, Scott Porter can heal Darkseid up, which is just, once again, a huge hurdle that the opposing team has to get over. Last and certainly not least is Proteus, the green Proteus from X-Men the Animated Series, Dark Phoenix Saga. His biggest thing, the reason he is here, is for the Garden of Proteus trait, which reads, once per action for all characters with this trait, once per action for all characters with this trait, whenever a standard character within range is given a costed action, after resolutions you may generate a blocking, hindering, or water terrain marker within 3 squares of that character, but not in their square. At the beginning of your next turn, you remove all terrain markers generated by Proteus. Now, what this allows us to do, since it's after resolutions of, say, Darkseid giving a basic move action, is we get to make a terrain marker there. So we just get to increase the amount of terrain markers that Darkseid can make each turn. He can shoot through a terrain marker to destroy it, and then, of course, deal 2 unavoidable damage. He can move through a marker with sidestep or a move action to deal 2 unavoidable damage to people. We're just trying to increase the amount of terrain markers that we can put on the map, and for 10 points, Proteus is amazing for that. So let's go ahead and take it to the map and kind of see what a turn with this team looks like and how it plays. It's going to be an average turn with Darkseid. We're proxying a few figures. So over here we have the opponent's team. Over here is our team, or the Darkseid team. I can't find my black shirt, so we're using a white shirt, and I do not have a Proteus, so we're going to, Wendigo is going to be our stand-in from XDPS. Your average turn, saying that no one is in first turn immunity, would be something like this. We'll TK out Darkseid 4 squares with Scott Porter. Because that was an action, we can go ahead, we can make a barrier with Proteus and kind of protect our back line. Then we can say maybe, before we make the barrier, perplex up Darkseid's defense, perplex up his speed, depending on the map, depending on the terrain. I chose an open map just for sake of ease. Then Darkseid will go ahead and move up. So it only takes 9 squares for him to get there. And then, of course, after resolutions, Proteus will go ahead and make a barrier here. Darkseid will use the 0 ring, making a barrier there. Then he can sidestep like that, destroying both markers, which will deal King Jefferson 2 unavoidable damage and Clock King 2 unavoidable damage. Darkseid will remove his action token from moving. Then we can have Khazar move up and down, and Darkseid can move back 6 squares. Somewhere like that to there, just so we can be slightly safer. And then we can go ahead and we can make another terrain marker with Proteus, protecting our back line. Guys, that was the basis of the Darkseid team that we're seeing in Silver. If there's anything that I missed, please let me know in the comment section below. This is just an educational video for those that are looking to get into Silver Age and figure out what's being played or what they may want to play. Overall, I actually like this build. For a relatively cheap team, you can have a stout entry to Silver. It doesn't have a ton of different elements. It's very minimal figures on your force, and it's very simple to run. So I really like this for especially somebody who is, doesn't own all these things in Silver Age and only needs to go back, a couple of years and get 1 or 2 things to be fairly competitive in Silver Age. So I really like the team for that. I know some people have issues with the team or some people have issues with Silver, but I think this is a very simple entry-level team that those that are maybe scared to play Silver can just play, and I don't feel too bad about playing it. It is a pretty straightforward team, and I actually do think it's really fun, as I did play a few rounds this past week. Well, guys, let me know, of course, in the comment section below what you thought of this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Dial H for Heroclix for all your Heroclix podcasts, videos, unboxings, news, and more. And guys, now that it's the end of the year, we have started the voting for the 2024 Clixies. The Clixies is an award show that Dial H for Heroclix does here on our YouTube channel at the end of every year, where we talk about the best of the best in Heroclix for the past year. It's really fun, so make sure to vote. There are all sorts of categories like best set, best non-main booster set product, best Heroclix figure of the year, best sculpt of the year, things like that. The Google form, there's a link to it in the description below. So please vote and fill it out. And also the live stream is going to be an absolute blast where we go over the winners of each category and of course have multiple giveaways. I have been your host, Kalder, and like always, happy trails. And remember, no matter how you feel about silver, Darkseid is.